Hi, I'm Rajiv Satyal. I'm a comedian and a host. I am Indian.
And I'm American. So this show will tell the story of Indians in America.
I live right here in Los Angeles, the home of Warner Brothers, Disney, and now Funny Indian Productions. My guest picks a game, and we play it. So enjoy. What do you bring to the table?
Welcome everybody to this episode of What Do You Bring to the Table? I'm your host Rajiv Satyal, and I'm sitting across from...
I'm Ravi Patel.
That's right, man. Patel.
Hi, buddy.
I
Patel.
love it, man. I love it. I remember the last time I interviewed you, I said Patel, and you're like, what is this Patel?
What is this guy saying?
I love it.
Yeah. It's a brand.
I love to hit it hard. Patel.
Yeah, Patel.
Yeah,
I mean, it's something.
It is something. It is definitely something. Thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate this.
Good to see you again, man.
I know, good to see you again. It's been quite a while. I know you've been extremely busy. So if you want to catch us up on what you're doing.
Look, can I say I love how close we are? It's very
it feels like
intimate.
we need to,
this
keep
is
this
great.
chain going.
Yeah, we can just hold
we
hands
can
all
hold
the time.
hands.
Let's talk.
We'll wait for the
You
waiter.
have warm hands.
I have warm.
Yeah.
I usually have
warm
cold
guy.
hands. I'm a warm guy.
Yeah.
It's the lights.
Yeah.
I usually have cold extremities.
Is that right? Cold extremities.
My feet and hands are always freezing.
I think that's a blood circulation thing.
Yeah, I think it is. I think I'm gonna die.
I have
early.
cold feet.
Do you have cold feet?
Yeah.
About doing this interview?
yeah.
That's most.
You
I have to go there.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Dude, you've been killing it. I'm a huge fan of yours. I always have been, just personally.
I'm a huge fan of yours.
I appreciate that a lot. He's not above lying, ladies and gentlemen. That's the first thing we appreciate. You chose blackjack.
That's right.
So I started to learn how to deal blackjack. I was watching YouTube videos, and he goes, "No, let's just do this on camera," because I was so bad at it. He's like, "We need to get some comedy."
I don't understand. Have you never been to Vegas?
I've been to Vegas, but so Vegas is different things to different people. To me, it's open container. That's the big thing for me. The fact that you can walk around with a drink anywhere is huge.
Right.
And it's clubs, because I'm still 21 years old.
Right, you're really young.
I'm really young.
I founded basically a media company in the poker world, the main part of which was a poker magazine.
Dude,
and
this is crazy.
It was right when the poker boom was happening, and it was crazy.
Is this early zeros?
Yeah, this was the aughts. This was
the aughts.
04, 05.
Okay.
And it was before I even had any aspirations for getting into entertainment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I had just I was an investment banker maybe a year or so prior, and I was in LA because Geeta, my sister, was here pursuing writing and directing. And so I was just trying to figure out what move was next. And my roommate came up to me and said, "Hey, I was thinking about starting this poker magazine." And the next day I jumped in with him.
This was here in LA?
This was here in LA.
Because you're from North Carolina.
I'm from North Carolina.
Okay.
Charlotte, yeah.
And you moved here in what year?
03.
03. So like a year or two in, you're living in
a year or two
Venice.
in. No, I was living in Brentwood with a roommate I had met on Craigslist.
Okay, starting
and
from
it's
the top now we're here.
Brentwood.
It's like, you know what, where I'm gonna go, not Agora Hills.
No, in like the neighborhoody, the condo, the apartment area in Brentwood.
Near Q's.
Right behind Q's, exactly.
I know all about Q's.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah,
walking distance to Q's.
Absolutely.
So Geeta lived in that neighborhood, so I got this place a block from hers.
Okay. So your sister was already out here?
Geeta was out here trying to make it, and I was like, okay, I think I'm just gonna bartend, and maybe I'll go to. I had already applied to law school, I think. Wow. And then we started this magazine, and it became. I mean, it was like one of the most successful publishing startups.
What was it called?
Of the year. It's called All In.
That's a great poker. That's a great name.
Still around, I think. But it was the craziest time of my life because. Everyone in Hollywood wanted to be a part of this scene, so we were based in LA, Seattle, and Vegas during the World Series of Poker. If you watch the World Series of Poker from that year, which I think was 2005 when we launched the magazine, was at the 2005 World Series of Poker. If you watch it, it's like people from ESPN walking around and me. Dude, I had so much kind of power, and I was so young, and I would.
How old were you at the time? You're 2 years younger than
I was probably like 24, 23,
okay, yeah, that
somewhere
is
in there.
young, definitely.
And
So
I would walk
yes,
around and
guys,
people would
you're
be
walking
like, there'd be like long lines. Clubs would be like, Mr. Patel, come on in. Leo has a table. Like, it was crazy.
No.
Celebrities were like
that.
fighting to be a part of it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Like Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was people
Just
like
to
that.
clarify for anyone who doesn't know who Leo
we
is.
had
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I mean, it was just such a hot thing that people wanted to be a part of. And so, and it's just almost ironic because then, a couple years after that or a year after
You're
that,
grinding, trying to
I'm getting
act
entertainment
again.
and I'm trying to get back in the same room.
They've turned the tables quite, to use a pun or something like that. That is incredible. So you made a lot of. Now, did any of those connections help you later, or was it like,
No.
kid, now you're walking?
I don't think any of them did. No, I think they went away.
Because I worked.
I didn't know that they mattered.
Yeah, at the time.
I didn't even particularly care. I remember I was like, I've never had a thing for famous people.
Even still.
Or
Or now is it more like a craft thing?
Yeah, like there's people who I admire, but no, I would say if anything, I'm
Not
more
starstruck.
repulsed by famous people than I am.
Wow, well, I'm glad you're doing this
endeared.
because I'm not famous. So he's like, that's why I'll do it.
That's why I agreed to do it. I was like, is it
like,
huge?
Gosh, he's kind
Good,
of
I'm
like an
in.
E-list celebrity. So. I think you hit that out of the park.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's one of my favorite documentaries,
Thanks,
and not
man.
just because I know you, but anytime I went with a couple, I was like, we know you know him. I'm like, no, but I know he's in my phone.
That makes me feel good, though. I mean, it's really cool to do. I mean, it's so funny. Before we even knew the film would be popular to any degree,
very popular.
I think I had to find meaning in what it was to me, and it had great meaning to me. In that it was like a introspective journey. It brought me closer to my sister, just working together and and not being able to fire each other and needing to find a way to love and admire each other more.
Do people ask you all the time then what happened after? Like, I'm sure you get that a lot. So are you tired of talking about that, or do you want to talk about it?
I'm not tired of it. I think
so. The ending of the. I mean,
it's
a
natural
documentary, so
if you enjoyed it. I think it's natural to wonder what the postscript is. So here's what's interesting. That documentary came out in I think 2015. The movie actually takes place in like 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So
it's lagging your own.
By the time it came out, I had already, I was single when that thing came out.
Right.
And
when did you guys break up?
A couple of years after the picture was locked, and then.
So after you bring her home, she's making chapatis on the floor with your mom.
Yeah, like 2 minutes after that, she walks out the door. But yeah, I'm married now.
So
right?
that girl and you broke up.
Yeah, and we're still friends by the way. She has kids.
That's
fantastic. We live pretty close to each other, actually.
That's
a mile from each other.
Awesome. Oh, like physically close. Like she's in Los Angeles. Oh.
She's a writer.
That's amazing, man. Good
she
for
writes
her.
on
Good for you.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, that show. Which is funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of comedy in that. Okay.
But no, her and my wife are actually friends.
Dude, this is like ideal case scenario.
It's great. It's funny how everyone moves
Yeah,
on.
truth is stranger than fiction.
Life happens, and we always. One thing we never had a problem with is mutual admiration and respect. It's just the relationship just ended because it should have ended.
Let's make sure we play the game too. So it's your turn.
Yeah, 6 on 2. There's a lot of ways to go. I'll hit it.
Okay, you're gonna hit. So I'm gonna go here.
Okay,
and
16,
so you're at
16 on 2.
Now I got to show.
I think I'm gonna stay.
You're gonna stay.
No.
Now okay, that's how it works. Okay. So then I'm at 7.
Oh, come on.
And then I'm at 17. Look at that, man. This is great. I love this game. I'm gonna play this with everybody. It's phenomenal. Tell me what you got going on, man. You got a lot going on, a lot in the hopper.
So, acting-wise, I just did a movie with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron that comes out in January of 2019.
Amazing.
I'm about to go do a movie in Chicago, which is based on a true story about 3 disabled guys who live with their parents and are virgins, and they hire a driver to bust them out of their house to go on a road trip to a brothel that services guys like them. So it's almost like a Little Miss Sunshine, tonally. So I'm really excited. I'm playing a blind guy, so I'm doing like real acting, which I haven't really done.
Well, I don't know if that's true, but okay, that's pretty awesome. That's what you haven't really done. Yeah. I wish more actors did take them seriously like you. That was a beautiful statement. That was amazing.
Unbelievable! Come on!
You pull a 19 and I throw down an 8.
This is insane. I'll stay.
Yeah, okay.
I gotta see what happens here.
Okay, so let's see what happens.
Oh, come on.
So I'm either a 3 or a 13, so I have to hit.
That's a 13 now.
That's a 13 now, because
Okay.
otherwise it'd be a bust.
Yeah,
So
okay.
13, and then, you win, finally. Okay, good. So 3
Just
to 1.
in time to hear me
3 to
talk
1,
about
not that
myself.
anybody's
Yeah,
keeping
just hear
track.
me talk about myself with the confidence boost.
Exactly. No, dude.
So I'm
that's
doing-
so those are 2 very different movies.
Yeah.
Disabled, and then the Seth Rogen thing.
Yeah, so I'm doing some cool things acting-wise. Geeta and I sold a remake based on Meet the Patels, the documentary.
Okay.
With Fox Searchlight. So we're in the script phase of that.
Okay.
And it's a scripted movie based on the documentary in which I would play myself.
Oh, so you're going to take the documentary and turn that into more of like a scripted.
This is another ace.
This is another ace, by the way.
An insane amount of aces.
Maybe he's going to shuffle from now
This
on,
is
by the way.
crazy.
This is insane.
And then I created a
Neil
show
Shah.
with my friend Neil Shah.
Okay.
That's
Neil
gonna-
Shah's a comedy writer.
comedy writer in town, a close buddy of mine. And that's going to be for Netflix in India, so we're writing the pilot for that. And it's about the stand-up comedy world in India.
That's awesome. They're like rock stars.
I think it's like the underground hip-hop scene was here in the 80s, 90s.
80s and early 90s, like the golden era of hip hop. It's
Yeah,
like that.
I think that's what it is in India. And so that's why I wanted to write a show that takes place in that world.
I just toured like all over the place there, so I'd love to.
I
just
need to
go
hear all about
offline
it.
with
Because
you
it's
talk
also
about it,
become
sure.
it's become a setting for emerging voices that previously didn't have one.
Definitely.
Kind of like what the digital landscape has done here.
Yeah,
you know?
like the slam poetry days.
That's a great
the
reference.
slam
It's the
poetry.
slam poetry of India.
Yeah, that's basically.
We sold a show to Bravo that's based on. I'm gonna win this hand.
Well, he already knows it.
That's based on Meet the Patels. We found 5 singles in Philly whose parents are all equally desperate for them to get married. My parents and I are going to jump in and coach them based on our experience from Meet the Patels.
You're saying it's kind of like a Queer Eye. Sort of
Yeah,
vibe,
yeah. Like my mom and dad and I pop in and I help the singles and they help the parents.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we have that. And then I'm developing a talk show, which is very in the early stages.
So what will your talk show be like?
We don't know yet. We're in the early stages. I literally just had a meeting about it yesterday. with
And then
my
you've got
talent.
another thing. You mentioned Sarah Silverman.
Sarah Silverman is the talk show.
That's
so she's the producer for the talk show.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Have I made it? So I think that's a profound question because I think my definition of having made it is evolving quite rapidly. I mean, I think I had conditioned myself for most of my life to kind of attach my self-esteem to achievement.
I think society had conditioned you to
Society
that.
probably
And
has-
probably specifically the community.
Sure,
even more so.
absolutely. And I think even pursuing what we're pursuing, it's hard not to get, it's such a desperate pursuit that is kind of built in to be an abusive relationship. And so you can't help but constantly be thirsty for more. It's hard not to get caught up in that. And I think becoming a dad has just really, and I'm gonna be 40 soon. So I think it's just made me, I just had a moment where I'm like, what, like, I was spending so much time working, so much time, even when I wasn't working, work was happening.
Yeah, it's just subconscious.
Yeah.
It's always in the shower, in the car.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
And I just kind of realized, you know what, I want to live every day. Like I want to have every day be awesome. And so, and I also want to be a dad. Like I want to be around and I want to be a husband. And so I've made giant changes in my life, and it's all come out of a new definition of what making it is.
Yeah.
Which is having fun every day and being unattached while still being passionate with work.
Right.
So essentially I have a balance that I've never had before now.
Yeah.
And I'm loving every day. I'm trying to do more in less time, and that's been difficult. I'm still in the nascent stages of this phase of my life. But I think I only recently made it because of this new mindset. It's so easy to get attached to the ends. Like this like I'm a successful entrepreneur if my company gets sold for $1 billion.
Right.
I'm a successful actor if I become Brad Pitt.
Right.
When really, if you know that there's a 99% chance of losing. So you're kind of signing yourself up for an unhappy life. And also you're waiting.
It's a lot of waiting.
You're waiting. If you even if you are successful, that mindset kind of never makes you happy in the moment because you're always doing more, or at least trying to sustain this place you got. The advice that I give most often to people I mentor is, if you really want to do this, find a way to love it every day. Find a way to love the pursuit and find a way to be unattached to whether or not you succeed or fail. Because really, the gift in entrepreneurship or the gift in being an artist is just that you get to spend your time that way. There's a lot of people for whom pursuing acting, writing, directing is an 8-year period of their life. And then they decide, this isn't for me and I'm gonna do something else. For a lot of people, they're not able to say goodbye because they feel attached to achieving some milestone.
Right.
When really it's just a relationship whose only real function in your life should be how it affects your own personal journey, which is a spiritual thing.
Sure. No, it is. I mean, what the artist's way, she talks about that, right? It is a spiritual thing, and that's why we have the Ganesh, So that's what keep us reminded, keep us.
I'm not particularly religious, but nonetheless.
But nonetheless, right? It's like when people say I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. It's like, to me, it's like when women say I'm not mad, I'm just upset. There's an analogy in there for me. I don't know. Somehow that fits my case that way.
I think becoming a dad has just really, and I'm going to be 40 soon, so I think it's just made me, I just had a moment where I'm like, what, like, I was spending so much time working, so much time, even when I wasn't working, work was happening.
Yeah, it's just subconscious.
Yeah.
I was in the shower, in the car.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
And I just kind of realized, you know what, I want to live every day. Like, I want to have every day be awesome. And so, and I also want to be a dad, like I want to be around and I want to be a husband. And so I've made giant changes in my life, like I don't work weekends anymore, which hasn't happened in like 5 or 6
So your
years.
weekend stops at like Friday. You're like, dude, I stop Saturday 3 a.m. and I'm getting ready.
Yeah,
You're like,
why?
or do you like Friday?
I pretty much don't work
afternoon?
weeknights. I don't work weekends. My assistant pretty much is not allowed to touch certain periods. Even during the week, there's about 25 hours that she's not allowed to touch. So I've gotten my life down to, I'm only allowed to work. Obviously filming and stuff can change these things, but generally speaking, I'm only allowed to have meetings or do work during like this 45-hour window.
That's pretty awesome. And
And
you
that's
set
just-
those boundaries for yourself. So. When did you know you were good at what you do?
That's a tough question.
I asked tough questions.
I think I've always...
You gave me your whole life philosophy, and I'm like, I don't believe you. So.
Like, I think when I look at myself as an actor, I've never thought of myself as a great actor. I think I'm like an actor who's great sometimes, great at some things, but I still consider myself very green. And I think maybe I'll be great in 10 or 20 years.
And you've been doing it for 10? 12?
Yeah.
Oh, 7?
Closer on the 15 side. Yeah. I think I started at 06 or 05.
Okay, it was right before, after the poker stuff and everything else.
Yeah,
and then,
it's probably
so
12,
about,
13 years.
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm great at writing and directing, and I do remember that, I've had moments for that. Like, my career in this town kind of started when I was in Phil and MC at Artwalla, which you know well.
I know
And
Artwalla.
I just got on stage, and I'd always been the guy who did this, but to do it in a room with people who were attempting to do it with their life and to be kind of the star of the evening.
Yeah.
On stuff that I was just improvising. That was a moment where I'm like, oh, okay, like
I guess I'm good at this.
Maybe I'm good at this, and this is really fun. So that was one moment for that. And when I was editing the documentary, I'm sitting in a dark room and I'm putting scenes together. And I remember having this feeling of like connectivity.
You're in the flow, you get it, you're seeing the moves ahead, and you're like, I see how this strings together.
Yeah,
And
I've never had that kind of confidence with acting, but I've always had that kind of
Why
confidence.
is it different with acting?
I think acting is just, I still don't know, because I still wonder if I should even be acting. Because I think acting is so hard, just like writing and directing, that in order to even pursue it, you have to think you're amazing at it. The cost of pursuit is so high that you have to have, even if you're wrong about it, you have to have that kind of myopic intention.
Like I could be, like I'm gonna work towards this.
Yeah, because honestly, it's not a pursuit I don't think that's worth doing if you don't think that you're gonna be one of the greatest, because even to be one of the greatest means you might just have a good career. It's a game of poker you're playing, where the majority of the outcome of a hand has to do with what you're dealt and not the way you played it.
So to that end.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay and you're gonna bust.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn you over. That's an 11.
11.
Me. That's a
Do you feel like you use your education?
No.
What would you get a degree in?
Probably the same thing. Economics, international studies. I do use my education.
Okay, you do. Okay, you went from no to yes.
I look at pretty much everything in terms of
Economics is all.
so-
Every economics answer starts with "it all depends." So I guess that's true. In one word, what are you?
Ravi.
I like that. I say Rajiv. That's really, you're the only person who's ever said it. What is the funniest movie you've ever seen? Or just a funny comedy that comes to mind?
Yeah, I'll say Spaceballs.
Oh, wow. Even in the future, nothing works. What would it mean to pull a U? Wow, he just pulled a Ravi. What is that?
To overcomplicate something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So after all this talk about Zen, it's still. you
Well,
have to fight
that's
that.
why it's so hard because
Right.
my,
But
like
your
my
nature-
nickname in high school was the enhancer. Yeah.
The enhancer.
And that wasn't like a positive attribute.
Yeah.
They were like, this guy can never like, I'm always trying to like add more to the,
To the flow.
I'm always
to the
trying to
mix.
enhance the situation.
What is the most exciting live sporting event you've ever seen? Like you were there and you saw this.
I went to after I got laid off from investment banking, I went to Chicago, Illinois. I grew up being a huge Bears fan.
Yeah.
And they had made the playoffs for the first time in like 10 years, and I was gonna follow them like they were fish or something. Like I was like, I don't have a job.
Well, bears do follow fish.
Yeah, did we get that?
I hope you guys got that.
So I bought a one-way ticket to Chicago. I bought a ticket to the game on the way on the train on ride to Soldier Field, and I got there and I'm drinking whiskey and my zipper broke, and so I went around the stadium filling out credit card things to get the free long sleeve t-shirt.
You are a scamster.
Yeah, I filled out the same credit card thing like 5 places, and I was just so cold. And then we lost that game, and that night I went to a riverboat and lost my entire investment banking severance. And it was still to this day one of the best experiences of my life.
An expensive day, but a great day.
It was expensive, yeah.
That's
but
no
it's
joke.
one of my favorite moments in life.
I just love how it's not like game 7 of some finals, it's you.
Yeah.
That's how focused I am on myself and you on yours. I was like, what's the greatest? You're like, there was a time where I went.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal answer. Let's drop some knowledge for the kids out there. They want to do what you would do for a living. What do you tell them?
Don't.
Great answer. Let's finish this round.
I'll stay, you hit.
Okay, so
Oh, no.
20.
Oh, actually, I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I bust.
You bust and I win. I'm not competitive or anything, but I won 4-2. Okay, everybody, thank you,
Yeah.
Ravi Patel,
Yeah.
Ravi Patel, for joining us
Thanks,
on this.
man.
You killed it, as usual.
Thanks
But
for having
nothing
me,
less,
buddy.
man.
This was fun.
Appreciate it, brother. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode of What Do You Bring to the Table? I've been your host, Rajiv, and I still am. Next week on What Do You Bring to the Table? You stripped for the first time. You were what, 19?
18.
18. Okay, 18. We'll leave it there. And how do you decide to do that? How do you even go, you know what, I'm gonna do that?
Funny because I did try to do like normal jobs. I did telemarketing.
I did telemarketing.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Fast food. I
What'd you
hated
work fast
it.
food?
Rallies.
Rallies, cha-ching.